Good morning, Foxes. So this week is all about families. How do families get along? What do families do together? And in our story, Big Red Lollipop, this week, we're going to be talking about how brothers and sisters get along. So I thought it was only fitting to read this story, Julius, the Baby of the World. This is written by Kevin Hinckus, and he writes a lot of amazing books. He wrote Chrysanthemum, Chester's Way, and there's just a lot of great books that he writes. So anyways, this is one of my favorite. This is a funny book, and it just reminds me of things that brothers and sisters do. So let's go ahead and get started. Julius, the Baby of the World. You mean that Bump is going to be a baby? I thought you were just getting fat like Aunt Mona. So you could see on this page, hooray, we're having a baby. And it says for Susan, the editor of the world. Before Julius was born, Lily was the best big sister in the world. She gave him things, she told him secrets, and she sang lullabies to him every night. These are for the baby. After Julius was born, it was a different story. Lily took her things back, she pinched his tail, and she yelled insulting comments into his crib. These are mine. I am the queen, said Lily, and I hate Julius. But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose, they admired his small black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. Lily thought his wet pink nose was slimy. She thought his small black eyes were beady. And she thought his sweet white fur was not so sweet, especially when he needed his diaper changed. Julius is the baby of the world, chimed Lily's parents. Disgusting, said Lily. Lily had to share her room with Julius. After Julius goes away, do I get my own room back, she asked. Julius isn't going anywhere, said Lily's mother. And he didn't. He stayed and stayed and stayed. Lily was supposed to be very quiet while Julius slept. After Julius goes away, can I talk like a normal person again? She shouted. Julius isn't going anywhere, said Lily's father. And he didn't. He stayed and stayed and stayed. We want Julius to grow up to be as extraordinary as you, said Lily's mother. So we must tell him constantly how beautiful he is and how much we love him. When no one was looking, Lily had her own ideas. So here's her mom and dad. We love you, Julius. You're beautiful, Julius. And then when it's Lily's turn, I hate you. You're ugly. We want Julius to grow up to be as clever as you, said Lily's father. So we must sing him his numbers and letters whenever possible. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When no one was looking, Lily had her own ideas. 3, 8, 1, 5, 9, 6, A, J, K, Z, B, S, C, H. Lily's parents were more than a bit doubtful about leaving the two of them alone together. Lily tried to frighten Julius with her nifty disguises. She learned magic and tried to make him disappear. When that didn't work, she simply pretended that he didn't exist. Baby? What baby? I don't hear anything. Lily spent more time than usual in the uncooperative chair. Lily's parents showered her with hugs and kisses and treats of all shapes and sizes. They even let her stay up 15 minutes later every night. It didn't matter. Nothing worked. I am the queen, said Lily, and I hate Julius. But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose, they admired his small black beady eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. Look, Julius is the baby of the world, chimed Lily's parents. Disgusting, said Lily. Lily's parents were amused when Julius blew a bubble. Can you believe it, they exclaimed. But if Lily did the exact same thing, they said, Lily, let's mind our manners, please. Lily's parents were dazzled when Julius babbled and gurgled. Gaga, moo. Such a vocabulary, they exclaimed. But if Lily did the exact same thing, they said, Lily, let's act our age, please. Lily's parents were amazed when Julius screamed. "What lung capacity?" they exclaimed. But if Lily did the exact same thing, they said, "Lily, let's restrain ourselves, please." One morning, while Lily was busy playing opera, her mother said, "Why don't you put some of that verbal exuberance to good use? Why don't you tell Julius a nice story?" "He's too little to understand a story," said Lily. "He can understand it in his own way," said Lily's mother. "Okay," said Lily, smiling. "Julius, the germ of the world by me," said Lily. "Once upon a time," said Lily, "there was a baby. His name was Julius. Julius was really a germ. Julius was like the dust under your bed. If he was a number, he would be 0. If he was a food, he would be a raisin. 0 is nothing. A raisin tastes like dirt. The end," said Lily. The story earned her 10 minutes in the uncooperative chair. Lily warned her friends, Chester and Wilson and Victor, about babies. "Trust me, they're dreadful," she said. She warned strangers about babies too. "You will live to regret that bump under your dress," she said. Lily ran away 7 times in one morning. "I'm really leaving this time," she called. "Who knows where they'll find me?" The same afternoon, Lily had a tea party and everyone came. Everyone but Julius. "His invitation must have been lost in the mail," she explained. Lily had a glorious dream about Julius. Look at that dream. And ghastly nightmares too. Lily's parents showered her with compliments and praise and niceties of all shapes and sizes. They even let her drink the juice out of an antique china cup. It didn't matter. Nothing worked. "I am the queen," said Lily, "and I hate Julius." Let's look at her pictures. Imposter baby, Julius germ. My entire complete family. Lily, Mom, Dad, my new cup, me, that's all there really is. But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose, they admired his small little black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. "Julius is the baby of the world," chimed Lily's parents. "Disgusting," said Lily. When Lily's mother felt up to it, she planned a festive celebration in honor of Julius. All the relatives came. There was quite a spread. "What's the big deal?" said Lily. "Haven't they ever seen a silly lump before?" Apparently not. All afternoon, the relatives hovered over Julius. They kissed his wet pink nose, they admired his small black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. "Disgusting," said Cousin Garland. "What?" said Lily. "Julius," said Cousin Garland. "I think his wet pink nose is slimy, and I think his small black eyes are beady, and I think his sweet white fur is not so sweet. He needs his diaper changed." Lily's nose twitched. Her eyes narrowed. Her fur stood on end, and her tail quivered. "You're talking about my brother," said Lily. "And for your information, his nose is shiny. His eyes are sparkly, and his fur smells like perfume." Cousin Garland was speechless. "He can blow bubbles," continued Lily. "He can babble and gurgle, and he can scream better than anyone." Cousin Garland tried to sneak out of the room. "Stop," said Lily. "I am the queen. Watch me closely." Lily picked up Julius. She kissed his wet pink nose, she admired his small black eyes, and she stroked his sweet white fur. "Your turn," said Lily, handing Julius over to Cousin Garland. "Kiss, admire, stroke," Lily commanded. "Now repeat after me," said Lily. "Julius is the baby of the world." "Julius is the baby of the world," said Cousin Garland. "Louder," said Lily. "Julius is the baby of the world." And from then on, he was, in everyone's opinion, especially Lily's. We're almost twins. Now this book, it starts off a little mean and you feel bad for poor little Julius, right? Lily was the queen of the castle in her house and she was kind of like the boss, and then her mom had another baby, and then all of a sudden Julius got attention and Lily did not like it. But you know what? There's nothing like brothers and sisters. So I thought I'd read this book to kick off our week because it kind of reminds me about the story in our anthology book and the relationship siblings have. Siblings are brothers and sisters. You know, sometimes you wish they were gone and they lived out of your house, but if somebody is mean to your brother and sister, it kind of breaks your heart, and you're usually their number one fan. So this is one of those books that kind of talks about those relationships with brothers and sisters. Some days you love each other, some days you don't. But that's just the way it is when you're kids. When you grow up, it gets a little bit better, okay? So anyways, great book to kick off the week. This is a fun book, so I hope you guys liked it, and let's have a great week. Bye.